Ellen Girl Better Bay. Hi everyone. So today is gonna be a little bit, well, it's gonna be a serious topic for sure. I know you already know what it's gonna be about, obviously because of the title. And here's Millie joining me. I haven't actually created any content for a while because I've been personally busy with whatever I have to deal with, and I've been busy listening and learning, and there's so many things happening in the world, and we all know that it's on the news. Not unless you don't live here in the States. And I believe that most of my viewers are actually Filipinos. I think this is a proper time for me to educate and bring awareness to some of you who are not informed of what's happening over here in the United States of America. It's this topic is really a sensitive topic. I think that the reason why I thought of filming this and creating a video about this is because I genuinely stand for what is supposed to be right, and I feel like it's this is the right thing to do, to educate people, to create awareness in a way that me as well, I am new to this kind of thing, like being an ally to the Black community, and I personally had to learn and unlearn some other stuff, some biases and stuff like that I grew up and I was taught about. And I believe it's not just me who need it, but I feel like, especially if you grew up in the Philippines, you probably have a lot of biases when it comes to skin color. And I think this is just the right thing to do, is to talk about it and to create a space to talk about it and to deal with it, and to to acknowledge that to acknowledge the biases, the prejudice, the things that you were taught that you never thought that it was wrong, but you just realize, oh, it was wrong, and I'm being biased about this. You know what I mean? So I feel like we have to have that space of educating each other and creating awareness of what's really going on. So yeah, I've been talking about this in 3 minutes, and this is just an intro. So let's begin. This video is to create awareness against racism and educate people who are new with allyship. And me myself is new with this, and I have been trying to learn about it. I'm trying to read articles about it, not just in social media, but also like actual resources online, and even podcasts, documentaries about this, and it's really helpful. And I feel like these points that I'll be sharing are the things that help me to understand and to be more aware, like knowing that I didn't grow up here in America. I grew up in the Philippines, and I already noticed that there are a lot of biases, especially when it comes to skin color. So basically this video is to help and educate people who are new with allyship. So let me define what is allyship for you all, so just so you all know, if you are new to this term as well. So allyship is a state or condition of being an ally, which is a supportive association with another person or group. So that is basically from Merriam-Webster. You can actually search it online, obviously. So basically, this is to support the Black community on how we can educate people around us, because some people are not really aware of their biases. Some people are not aware that they are racist. Some people are not aware that they're doing wrong. Allyship is more than just being online and retweeting or reposting something on social media. It's more about genuine support to the Black community. And how are we going to do that? So let's start with the basics. And these are the things that actually helped me out. And yeah, I just want to share. So let's go to my first point. And I feel like my first point is so basic. And this is how we are going to know what's really going on in the world, which is basically being informed. Being informed meaning like watching the news or reading the news, or be aware of what's happening in the world. And we can basically do that by actually just checking social media right now. Everyone is reposting what's happening in the world. Everyone is just reposting news actually, and it's just so easy, especially right now. We have a lot of resources to do that, online, radio, podcast. They're just be informed, which leads to my second point, which is to acknowledge the problem. Well, to acknowledge the problem is like we have to know that there is racial injustice. It's really happening in the world. And it's not just because it was taught in history class, or it's not just because it was part of history, but it's still happening in the world. And not just actually here in America, but also in other countries. And it's just so sad if you think about it and search about it. Like, do your own research, not just on social media, but if you have internet, well, obviously you can check it online on Google. And what is racism? What is inequality? What is currently happening? And just be updated with current events. And now that you are aware of what's going on in the world, and you acknowledge the problem, and you are now aware that it is still happening, that racism is still happening all over the world, then what's the next thing to do? Well, for me, what works out for me is after that, I actually reflect. I realized that I actually have some privileges, even though I am a person of color. An example of this personally is not just because I'm highlighting myself and my story here. I want to highlight the Black community here. But this is like my personal experience of how I think I was able to empathize, and I was able to reflect on myself. And being an ally is you should be aware, you should be self-aware of what are your privileges as who you are. For me personally, I am Filipino, and I am light-skinned Filipino, and I feel like that give me a lot of privileges because people in the Philippines, this is like a perfect example, especially for my viewers in the Philippines, this would relate so much for you, is when, because I grew up as a light-skinned Filipino, obviously. I got it from my mom because my mom has a blood of Spanish and Chinese, and she's a light-skinned Filipina as well. And my dad is a dark-skinned Filipino. So I've seen both worlds. I've seen how they treat Filipinos who are like skinned and her like fair skinned, and like Filipinos who have dark skin. And I clearly remember how they treated my dad. Like I remember when I was a kid, um, I was with my dad and my mom wasn't there because she's at work, and my dad was with me. Um, and someone approached him, and my dad is a dark skinned Filipino, like what I said. Someone approached him like, "Is that your daughter?" And he was like, "Yeah, this is my daughter. This is blah blah blah." And my dad was so proud, and it was just so pure and happy. And then this person was like, "Well, why is she light skinned?" And I was like, I felt bad for my dad because I feel like ever since that, I am more aware like people like light skinned Filipinos. And if you see show business, um, most of them are mestizas, and meaning like they're mixed. Um, they could be half American or half Spanish. Most of them are light skinned. And I feel like this kind of like contributes to how the society looks at it, and they think the highest form of beauty is being white or being fair skinned, and never experience what my dad experienced. Um, but I've seen it. I've seen how they look at my dad from head to toe and question him, is that really your daughter? And that is not even as equal as to what the black people are experiencing right now. And it's just so sad to realize that. And I feel like the more I reflect on it and realized that, makes me feel genuinely sad, and I just want to be part of allyship and inform people that it's wrong. We have to remove those biases with based on skin color. And it's actually really hard to talk about this because once you reflect, you'll realize so many things that are bad that you never thought were that bad when you were a kid. And now it made me more aware personally. So this is really an essential part of being an ally, is to reflect, to self-reflect on your privileges and know what are your biases, and how do you think you help the black community to create awareness to people. After reflecting and knowing your privileges, this is the time you want to educate yourself, and you want to learn more about biases and what are the things you have to remove in your mind and unlearn, and the same thing is to learn and educate yourself so you can educate others. After educating yourself, part of it is I recommend for you to apply it in your daily life through diversifying what you watch, movies that educate and tells what happened in the past of about slavery and racism. And I can link those resources down below for you to know, and how are you going to be more aware of like documentaries. And especially right now, Netflix created the Black Lives Matter collection on Netflix, and even in Hulu, and even in other platforms, and it really helps for me. And I've been listening to podcasts that relates to me and makes me be a genuine ally to the Black community. Also, if you are a mom, I definitely recommend to diversify the toys that you give for your kids. Um, like Barbie nowadays, I remember when I was a kid, I only have like light skinned Barbies because I feel like Barbie that time wasn't really diversified. But now it's diverse, even Asians, people of color, and Black Barbies are there. Start to diversify what they play, diversify the Barbies, diversify the books, and start to talk about race. Number 6 is to help out the Black community. For sure, after educating yourself and being more aware personally, after realizing what's going on and how the Black community is not being highlighted in different industries such as media, Hollywood, movies, even like businesses, even in arts, in different industries. And that kind of made me realize that I want to support them, because you know that being a minority is already hard, and they've been already dealing with it. The Black community has been already dealing with it for their whole life, and what more with their businesses. So I believe when you support the Black community, that empowers them, um, and create a difference. Hi all. So I actually forgot to mention earlier, I just finished, and I was like, wait, I forgot something. I just want to add to the points that I've given to you all is to also donate some money if you can, and if you're willing to the legit organizations for the Black community. I would link them down below. You can also give some time to sign petitions that are open right now. I can link all of them down below. If you know any um, organizations that need help, you can link it in the comment box. We can help out each other on how we can help other people. So 7th is to educate others. We have a lot of ways on how you can educate others. First is start at home. Talk about diversity and racial injustice. You want to acknowledge the biases and that you have at home. So call out what's wrong that is happening, what are the biases that your family members have, and correct them. Tell them honestly what you feel. Like, you already educated yourself, you already know what is wrong, and this is the time to educate them. Maybe they're just simply not aware of what's going on, and simply not aware of how other people are impacted of this, and how other people are getting killed and experiencing this racial injustice in their whole life that maybe your family members weren't aware of and aren't aware of. So it's this is the right time to talk about it. And also start and create a space to talk about it in your community, at work and in school or in church, to create that change in your own community. Like, for example, if you have clubs, you can start creating book clubs and start diversifying the books that you read. And also maybe that would really help out if you start talking about what's really happening in the world and how can you contribute and creating awareness of what is wrong and what has to be changed. And those are the things that would really help out. And also, which is the most popular one, is social media, especially if you have a big following, if you have huge people who follow you, and just a small difference of like creating this awareness of like racism is really happening and we need justice for these people. If we start to create that avenue where we talk about it and we slowly create change in our environment, and some people would also be encouraged to do the same thing. We just have to keep on empowering other people to speak out and talk about the things that has to change in our community. So those are the like 7 points that I want to share that really helps me out. And I'm not saying that those are the perfect points, but those are the things that I feel like basic things that we have to do for us to be a good ally and to be genuine in this journey. I just want to highlight that it is not a trend, um, and it has to be part of our daily lives. It's not just a post in social media that we have to repost or tweet. It's about genuinely being part of creating change in the society, and we have to do that. To be honest with you, it's really hard for me to go back to my um, regular content. I actually have contents in my account, in my phone, that I have to edit, that I can just post and just, ignore what's happening in the world. But then I thought that this is the right thing to do, and I feel like I am really, really nervous to talk about this, and I'm really getting out of my comfort zone. But this is part of allyship. You have to get out of your comfort zone to speak out, to help people who can't speak out for themselves and create a difference. Yeah, so I hope this helps out. I know this is not gonna be the most informative, the most inspiring, maybe, but this is, I think, the right thing to do, to start talking about this, talking about anti-racism in my platform, and encourage the people who follow this, who are subscribed in this channel, or even like follow me on in social media, to be aware of it. And we have to be against racism. We have to start educating and creating awareness, basically. So yeah, this has been really, really, really tough conversation for me, but I think this is just a start for me to talk about this, and I will continue to talk about this in the future for sure. I will continue to educate and create awareness. If you have questions and if you have any additional points that you want to share in this video, then feel free to post it in the comment box, and I'm also gonna link the resources in the description box, so feel free to check that out. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you all for watching. I'm probably gonna post the vlogs, but still I'm gonna still talk about this in my daily life for sure. So yeah, I hope you will do. It's not just about social media. We can talk about allyship, and we can be an ally offline. So what matters is we have to be genuine, that you really want to create change and you really want to be part of this allyship. All right, see you guys on my next video. Bye.